Today our guest is Lars Christensen, the author of multiple books translated to Polish. Today, when I was traveling to meet you, I picked up the brand new Magnet book, and I'm very impressed by the amount of the book this time again. And I was wondering, this is the biggest question for you for years, when you are writing these great long books that are, putting the reader inside this world and this stuff. Was that your experience as a child by reading literature, that it is getting you inside this world? Was it something like you remember, or?
Yeah, it's something like that. To write a novel at this size, it's about 600-700 pages. I worked on it for several years, and you have to be concentrated for several years all the time. But I work with language, with memory, with politics, with my characters, of course, and a lot of it's a kind of mix of experiences, dreams, and just real storytelling.
Mm-hmm. Yes, because I don't know if you're feeling that way, but I feel that in your writing, storytelling is the main part of writing a book. Like to tell a story, to tell a character story, to tell something about the world that we are not anymore there. Do you think something like this?
Yeah, yes, for me it's a profound joy to tell stories in writings. But I also try to combine poetry with my storytelling, because poetry is the kind of the music in the storytelling. But I think it's so important to tell stories. I hope it is, and I hope sometimes I get the chance to tell some important stories about some ordinary people in Norway. Mm-hmm. And it has to do with memory. It's so easy to forget, and writing is about remembering.
And forgetting at the same time.
Yeah, maybe. That's a very fragile balance between forgetting and remembering, but it's all part of the writing movement inside me.
Yeah, because you said about your characters, but your characters are almost most of the time, or a lot of times, children, little boys, young boys, etc. The memory for children works different way, like in a different pattern. I don't know. I was wondering if you are reusing or re-establishing this kind of memory, like children memory, when you remember something very juicy or very, I don't know, colorful, but at the same something fake, something bizarre. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's important for a human being to remember all the ages you've been through, not to forget what it was to like to be a child. And I very often write, or my stories start with young boys, teenagers or something, in that part of life when you are trying to find out who you really are. It's a very dramatic period in everybody's life, and so that's the part of the age that I'm still interested in. But I'm not a nostalgic writer. I hope I don't want to be 15 or 20 years again. My God, no.
Okay, because my favorite of your book is, of course, Half Brother. I cannot resist myself from saying this, because I think it's splendid. It's a splendid piece of work, and I find this moment from the character always fascinating when he and experiencing outside world, outside the family, when he establishes himself as a person. In fact, not a member of a family, but a person, the self. Very complicated structure, in fact. And this moment from your characters always is very crucial for their developments. Do you think it's the same from the Magnet?
Yeah, I think it is. It is age when family are very important, and family is always important. And I think in Norwegian literature, family is a very important structure in all storytelling.
Being
you
together.
You look at Ibsen, any great Norwegian writer write about family. But then you have to take a step outside family, and then you establish yourself, as you say, in another way. You're not the same person anymore. And I think that's the same experiences in Magnet, because the main character there is a very strange, tall, thin, awkward person. But suddenly he meets a girl, a woman, and he can establish himself in a whole other way. Almost start at the bottom again, or from the beginning again.
But this process is also terrifying in some
Oh yes,
ways.
it is.
This growing process,
Most
establishing yourself.
things are terrifying, but then there's some joy sometimes too, of course.
But are you sometimes yourself terrified what's going to come out from your novel?
Yeah, I think my novels, when I write the novel, it has to surprise me. It has to surprise me too, because then if it don't surprise me, I can't surprise my reader. So I'm always looking for that moment when I tell a story or write a story, when suddenly I kind of lose control. And then I have to gain control again. It's a very delicate balance again between intellectual work and emotional work.
When you said, when I have to lose control or gain control, I remembered all the Beatles and all these songwriters and songwriting that is coherently present in your writing. Because when you think about teenagers or young adults, and even old people, to be honest, you feel that songs finding a way to the bottom of the heart, basically. Like people feel that the songs tell their emotions, deeper feelings. How do you cope with this? Because you're on the other side of the literature with your long novels, and you have the poetry, like your way of.
It's connected, but it's also very different from each other. And I think I became a writer, or in my mind I became a writer when I heard the Beatles songs when I was a teenager, because I suddenly experienced that someone sang about me, about my own emotions,
directly to you,
directly to me, and that's in a way what I want to do today as a writer. I want to tell some stories people can see themselves in, or see themselves in another way, maybe. And it's both very simple and very difficult at the same time. But in pop lyrics and rock lyrics, you can use a lot of sentimentalism, but that's very, very difficult, or it's difficult to use in a novel.
Yes, because I was wondering if you feel that way, but the music which is present is driving characters to do things, to become somebody else sometimes even, because there's this vibe of the power of music here present. I don't know if it's the proper description of this, but sometimes when you construct this world for your characters, I feel that the inspirations from somebody else, from someone else, for somebody that is waiting for you to hear the story. Like you tell the story to a child, you think about this child, not about yourself. Do you think that it's something like you're giving from your experience, from your life to the reader?
Yes, of course. I don't write autobiographical novels like a lot of people try to do that these days. I'm not there, but every writer had to use their own experiences in some or another way. But I'm writing fiction. Fiction is my tool to tell stories, of course, and when you mention music in this connection, it has always been, and for me it's a very strong connection between language and music, of course. So I find inspiration in music as well as in reading other novels.
But you are also a poet.
I'm a poet.
And this is a different piece of cake.
Yes, it's I've been thinking about that, and the biggest, the most dramatic difference is that when you're writing a novel, let's say Magnet or Half Brother, you sit in your room for 3 or 4 years and you work on it. You can't write a novel in one day. It's impossible.
Not a
but
spark.
you can write a poem. You can write a song lyric before lunch and then send it to a musician, and then you can sing it for the audience the same night. And I like that kind of let's say I like that format, if you understand. I'm both a very patient guy when I write novels, but then I also a very impatient guy. I want to get things done, and don't misunderstand me. It's not easier to write a poem. It can be much more difficult, but the time is very different.
Yes. We have to finish now. Thank you very much.